Welcome back to Fan Talk. I'm David.
And I'm Simon. And we'll be talking about this last weekend's box office report for August 9th through 11th. Any guesses on the top movie?
Well, I wasn't completely wrong. I did say I thought it would be Dora that knocked some movies out, but horror movies or scary movies are just having a really strong summer, it looks like.
Yeah, and even PG-13 ones like the Scary Stories came in number 2 right after Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, and I actually, once again, I think that's great, not only because is it good for the horror genre, which I'm a fan of, but I also... It's something that I'm kind of passionate about. I really loved those books as a kid. It actually kind of started my love for scary stories and being scared, was that series of books. And I think it's cool that, they made it into a movie, and I'm expecting that there'll probably be another one at some point. So
Yeah, looks like it's going to, the budget of $25 million, it's already made $20 million domestically, hasn't even opened worldwide yet, so it's on path to make some money back.
yeah.
And, I've heard that the visuals were pretty well reviewed. I mean, kind of some gruesome looking creatures on there, but
Yeah.
It's definitely hitting a nerve with audiences, and it came in number 2 for horror movie. We'll see how it holds from here on out, but August is a pretty light month from here on out. We got a bunch of movies coming out next weekend, but no big blockbusters expected to unseat everything and suck all the oxygen out anymore. Starting out though, Hobbs and Shaw did have a repeat weekend. Came in first again with $25 million. That's up to $331 million worldwide on a budget of $200. So it's on path to becoming profitable. I know that 331 and costing $200 million to make sounds like it already is, but there's more to it than that.
Yeah, of course.
It probably needs to hit at probably 500 to 600 to truly be in the clear for profit. But we're going to cover that at some point soon. I want to really break down how those numbers work.
Yeah.
And why it gets so complicated. You basically just have to say, okay, it's got to make 2 to 3 times its budget.
Basically, on average, you want it to at least double its cost to be considered profitable movie.
Yeah, and that's before even merchandising, where the real money from the movie is made.
Yeah, exactly.
The Hobbs and Shaw, the flamethrower. I could see that.
Toys. Toys.
Actually, a little trivia thing, talking about bring up the Spaceballs flamethrower. George Lucas gave his permission for Spaceballs to be made, even though technically he might not have needed to because it's a satire. But he gave his permission to parody Star Wars, and he said with the caveat that they don't make any merchandise to compete with Star Wars. Not surprised.
No, not even a little bit.
Moving on in third place is Lion King, having made $1.3 billion.
Billion.
With a B.
Yeah.
It's now the highest ranking animated movie of all time.
Yeah.
Still animated.
Yeah, right?
And it's still chugging pretty good, only a 47% drop last weekend. So still coming in more like a blockbuster than a family animated movie.
Yeah, it's dropping a little faster than...
But there's also 5 new movies out this last weekend, which, it spreads the wealth around a little bit. Number 4, Dora, $17.4 million, very respectable. I thought the budget was slightly high on the movie, $49 million for what it is. It seems like a bit of a gamble to take on not knowing how the live action will be taken after. I mean, it's a well-known IP. Everyone knows Dora, even if they don't follow it. So I thought $49 million, plus you also got the marketing and distribution costs, so probably really about $70-80 million movie.
Yeah, but you got to think that Dora is huge. I mean, she's been
it will
around
have
for
its
a
own
long
merchandising.
time, lots of merchandising, and it's one of those shows that a lot of people are going to go and see. I was actually kind of surprised that it was only 4th. I expected it to be 2nd or 3rd, but it was a big budget movie, but it's a big hit, and I think that it's going to continue to make money.
And it hasn't really even opened worldwide yet, so
Yeah.
it'll just keep rolling out across different properties or different territories. Number 5 is Tarantino's movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Only a 41% drop, not bad for a summer movie.
Yeah, and
it still hasn't opened worldwide.
Yeah, it's a Tarantino flick, so I think they're gonna stretch it out here a little bit longer, and then it's gonna go international and make more money. So.
Yeah, it is a very American-centric movie, obviously being a timepiece in Hollywood, so I'm interested to see how it does worldwide. Obviously, some movies are going to be very worldwide in nature, like Hobbs and Shaw. You got a very diverse cast on a very worldwide, different set around the world.
I think, actually, that we're going to be and I think everybody's gonna be a little pleasantly surprised on that, because this isn't just an America movie, though. It's an America period film. I mean, it's really about a point in time in America that is really interesting to people. It's the golden age of Hollywood, and
I just wonder how well known the Manson
other,
family stuff is
in,
worldwide.
in other countries, you've got countries who are their movie business is just now really starting to boom. Like for instance in China, and I think to see that golden age of American film portrayed in a film, I think it's something that a lot of people are going to be interested in. And you also have to think about the stars in the film who actually have a lot of international appeal.
That's true.
So I think that that and it being a Tarantino film, I think that it's actually going to do very well overseas. So.
Okay.
We'll see.
Well, we covered the top 5 so far, and if you're still listening, please hit like and subscribe, and we'll keep going with the second 5. Number 6, Art of Racing in the Rain. A little drama out. Kevin Costner as the dog.
Yeah.
It's $8 million. That's a solid little start for a movie that without the special effects and all that stuff. It's not like it's a talking dog with the mouth moving. So it's not going to take a huge amount to make this movie profitable, and it's got to a decent start. It's got some good word of mouth.
Yeah, it was one of those movies I saw the preview for, and it actually looks entertaining. I plan on probably watching within the next 2-3 days. I'll probably give it a watch.
Yeah, and it's got Milo from This Is Us in it, and it's made by the same people that brought you Marley and Me, and it's got a talking dog. So bring Kleenex. Those 3 things add up to crying.
Yeah, you're right.
Number 7, Kitchen, as in the Women of Hell's Kitchen.
Yes. I didn't know a whole lot about this film, and now that it's out, I mean, it made
based
the top
on a comic
10,
book. It made the top 10. It's based on a comic book. It has a very stellar cast. The reviews and news on it looks like it's not making as expected. But if you like that sort of a piece and you like the cast and their past work, I mean, go out and give it a shot. It's definitely a little different than some of the other things we have on the table right now. Number 8 and number 9, Spider-Man and Toy Story 2, just chugging along, 5.2 million, 4 million respectively. They're wrapping up their reigns. Toy Story 2 is on the verge of making $1 billion. It's at 990 million worldwide. Mm-hmm. So it's despite all the naysayers at the beginning, it's there.
Yeah.
Number 10, K-pop in the House. What do you think about Bring the Soul?
Again, one of the films that I didn't plan on rushing right out and seeing, and I probably won't. Don't take anything away from the movie, though, by me saying that. It's about a K-pop band.
Not your cup of tea?
Yeah, it's not really my cup of tea, but it is incredibly popular right now in the U.S. and worldwide. But, I mean, in the U.S., it made the top 10.
For a documentary.
Yeah, and it's a documentary. Yeah. So, to me, that speaks miles about these kids' popularity worldwide.
Yeah. I'd like to check, but I want to say the last time a documentary's been hitting this much buzz and everything worldwide was probably Michael Jackson's This Is It.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but that's the last one I can really think of.
That's the last one I can think of as well. And but it's doing well, and I'm glad for him, and I'm probably not going to run out and watch it still, but if you are into documentaries, especially if you really like K-pop bands, and I would give it a watch.
Yeah. Also just general concert type movies or documentaries. And usually we only do the top 10, but we're going to do an 11th one this week because one of the new movies opening, 5 movies opening last weekend came in at number 11. That's the Brian Banks movie.
Yeah.
The football, the wrongly accused.
And, we were talking last week about what movies we thought might, inch into the top 10 and knock movies out. And we actually, our predictions weren't exactly right, but several movies did make it into the top 10. And Aladdin finally got bumped out.
Yeah.
So.
I would have thought this would have been one that would have been at the bottom of the ranking, and it was. This feels more like the kind of movie that so many people are talking about is the face of movie business changing, where only the blockbusters come out in the theaters, and that comedies and heavy dramas are now just Netflix and not Netflix and chill, but Netflix and streaming type options now. And people aren't going to necessarily go to the theaters as much to see those type of movies anymore. With how many good comedies that bombed in the last year, it's been a conversation I keep hearing come up over and over again. And I'm wondering if this is just another example of that kind of heavier drama being better for. People rather watch that at home on their own time rather than pay the $10-12 to go to the movie theater and all that.
I mean, less and less people are going to watch those types of films right now. But as we've seen in all things trend at a particular point in time. Those things die off, other things become popular. I mean, like for instance, the Art of Racing. That kind of film was incredibly popular. 10 years ago, there was several films like that would come out and they would do well. I hadn't seen one in a long time, and now one's out and it's trending well. So, things kind of come and go, and right now those kinds of dramas. There's 1,000 of them on Netflix, and they do well on there. So sometimes something is better for a different kind of.
And they saw the option of always doing that after the theatrical release.
Yes, exactly. So,
you don't get nominated to award seasons if you don't get released theatrical either. So sometimes just to do that. Well, that's it for the last weekend. Looking backwards, looking forward, we got another slate of movies coming out. It's August, but the last of the big blockbusters are done. I think the next huge movie that's slated to come out, depending on how you define it, would be It 2 next month. But there's still some big ones, like Angry Birds 2 comes out on Wednesday the 14th. This one is actually getting a pretty good critics review, better than the first movie, which is interesting for a kids sequel.
Yeah.
Especially about a video game of flinging birds at pigs.
I gotta tell you though, the first movie wasn't horrible, and from the previews, I am more intrigued to go watch this one than the previous one. So I'm one of those people that the buzz would be coming from me that, hey, it looks like it's gonna be better than the last one.
I know my son will want to see it. It's got a Rotten Tomatoes of 77%, which if you had told me that an Angry Birds movie was going to come out, and then a few years later they're going to release a sequel, and that it would have a Rotten Tomatoes of 77%, I'd be like, okay. I'll see that. So yeah,
what do you know that I don't?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The first movie made $352 million worldwide on a pretty reasonable budget, so it was no surprise they're going to come out with a sequel.
Yeah,
and they got all the crew back: Jason Sudeikis, Josh Gad, Maya Rudolph, Bill Hader, Peter Dinklage, Awkwafina, and Shirley King Brown, to name a few.
Yeah.
So it's got a very diverse cast, and I'm just kind of wondering. Well, never mind. I'm just going to say, with having pretty much every single character voiced by a main actor, is like, does it really? I guess if they're all good actors, you don't notice.
Yeah.
Especially some of those very good voice actors where they can do different voices and everything else you wouldn't even know unless you were looking at the cast list. Mm-hmm. Bill Hader being one of those that comes to mind. And Maya Rudolph and Josh Gad. Okay, all of them.
And, yeah.
I get it, point. On Friday the 16th, we have 4 movies coming out. We have 47 Meters Down, Uncaged.
Yeah, that's the sequel to 47 Meters Down.
Yeah.
That movie, you knew they were going to make a sequel. The first one did so well.
I'm glad they didn't make it 48 Meters Down.
Yeah, and it's a typical kind of, in my opinion, Hollywood grab for money. The first one did really well, and why wouldn't you make another one? You aren't going to, of course, use the same character. That person is never going to go in the ocean again. Definitely
new cast.
So it's a new cast. It's a similar situation, and it's a shark movie. And I enjoy these kinds of films. I will watch it, and we'll see how good it is. But, again, the first one did so well, you had to expect some kind of a sequel.
$62 million on a $5 million budget.
Yeah.
Next is Blinded by the Light. Bruce Springsteen movie.
We were talking about that last week, and
Rotten Tomatoes of 92%.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be a strong end of summer movie. I think that it's done by the same people that did Bend It Like Beckham. Is that, if I'm correct, the same people?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm sorry, I think that because yesterday came out. Feels like yesterday. Another heavy Indian cast or an Indian cast member. Going over another pop culture icon's music. That one obviously was a very different setup. This one is actually like taking place in the 80s and a Indian teenager in England being captivated by Bruce Springsteen's music and a lot of the influences of that music kind of affecting his life and his assimilation, his family's assimilation into British culture as opposed to keeping their own Indian subculture.
Yeah.
So that does remind me very much of Bend It Like Beckham because it had very similar themes to it. And it looks good. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I've always appreciated Springsteen's music, but I've never just like been like, oh, I'm going to go out and we get all this, all the CDs or download all the songs. But I've always appreciated his music. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing the movie and seeing how many different things I pick out. I'm like, oh, I know that song. I didn't know he did that kind of thing.
I think it's going to do well, and we'll see how that one turns out. Of course, the next one on the list is one I'm excited about watching.
Good Boys.
Good Boys, and that to me is everything a summer movie should be.
Superbad, the prequel.
Yeah, it just looks hilarious.
Obviously produced by Seth Rogen and
Yeah.
has a very much his tone of comedy in it, which I love.
Yeah, I mean it's great. Even the trailer for it cracks me up because of the trailer. It's like him with the boys, and he's like, "You guys can't even watch this trailer because you're too young to watch the trailer because it's rated R." It's hilarious. A lot of good stuff in this film. It looks like, and I'm gonna rush out and watch that one opening weekend. I think it'll
Don't
be-
take your kids.
Yeah, probably shouldn't take your kids. It is rated R, but I think it's going to be a really funny summer and a summer comedy.
Yeah,
So-
just kind of a way to kind of end off the summer and go back to school for some people, and other people wish that you were back in 6th grade doing that stuff.
right.
But it's got Rotten Tomatoes of 80%, so it looks like it's going to be a solid. Hopefully it does pretty well for itself. Last one, Where'd You Go, Bernadette? And it's not Bernadette from Big Bang Theory. It's starring Kate Blanchett. It's based on the novel of the same name, from what I understand. It's listed as a mystery dramedy. So my understanding is Kate Blanchett's Bernadette character is a very antisocial type and goes missing, and then the daughter goes looking for
I was
her.
looking for, yeah.
So next week we'll be talking about how the box office does on these movies. Actually, I think the Bernadette movie looks like it'll be very good. It looks like it's very well made. It might be an early, too early to tell yet, but it's a type that you might hear talked about again when.
Comes to award season.
Yeah, exactly. My predictions: Angry Birds 2 will be probably on top, unless Hobbs and Shaw can eke out a third weekend. But I think Angry Birds 2 is going to be on top.
See, I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to say that Good Boys knocks them both out for first place.
Ooh, that's a tough call. I'm going to go with Good Boys and somewhere around Dora.
All right. We'll see.
And the other two are going to be mid-list somewhere. I think Where to Go Bernadette's going to be down with Brian Banks probably. But Blinded by the Light, I could pull another yesterday and just come in at a solid 4 or 5 and just stick there for a month and a half.
Oh yeah, it's possible. I just think that as far as Good Boys goes, I mean Seth Rogen, being attached to this film, one is going to be a big push for it. It looks really funny, and there's not a lot of real comedies on this list. A lot of
true.
funny movies, and I think that people are ready for something funny.
Yeah, and usually, very often, August has the August surprise where a movie comes out of nowhere and just makes bank.
Yeah.
And so it's anyone's guess which one it is. The Good Boys is a strong contender for that. I think the Blinded by the Light will be a slow burn. 47 meters down will make its money and get out of there. And Where'd You Go, Bernadette's gonna, get some good buzz going for it moving forward. But as far as the ones currently out and coming out next weekend, Good Boys probably has the best shot at being the August surprise until we go to the next week, but we'll go from there.
Yeah. Well, again, folks, thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to like and subscribe.